Good afternoon, Mike Rogers, on this great day before our Independence Day, July 4th. Thanks for joining Citizens for Traditional Values, Mike. Really
For having
appreciate that having our candidates. CTV is not endorsing in the primary. However, we want everyone of our readers and listeners to know who our U.S. Senate candidates are, because this is such an important race. We appreciate you taking the time to come on and do a quick interview and address some of those questions. The first one, as you know, CTV, our lifeline is talking about the sanctity of life and the protections for the unborn. And as a U.S. Senator, how would you address or would you eliminate taxpayer funding of any national and international family planning agencies, example of Planned Parenthood, that promote or perform abortion?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely critical. And you can still be in keeping with what the people of Michigan voted on and put a part of the Constitution and be opposed to taxpayer funded abortions. And that has certainly been my stance as a member of the state legislature and Congress. And I'll continue to work to get the government out of that business. I think it's unfortunate that they're there in the first place.
We recognize the different authorities of our federal government versus state government, and it's a very important point to make. And where we've seen a lot of encroachment of the federal government is in education. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about the recent attempt by our president to enforce a change in Title IX funding that would require all schools receiving federal funds to allow boys to compete in women's sports. And should that be reversed in your mind, and would you work to do that?
Absolutely should be reversed. This is just so unfortunate that the Biden administration and Democrats in Congress are working so hard to undo the hard work that women have gone through since the inception of Title IX, to have the opportunity to compete in sports, to get scholarships for sports, so that they can gain all the benefit that young boys and young men have gotten for generations about that competition and teamwork. And you learn leadership, and you learn how to be a good follower and how to be a good leader. This puts all of that in jeopardy. And it's just wrong that the fact that biological males and that now they want access to women's locker rooms, and this has to end. I think most people really want normal, and this is not normal. Even having this discussion on how a biological male can take a scholarship from a woman who has worked her whole life to be competitive at a college level is just absolute nonsense. We have lost our collective minds if we allow this to go forward. I'm going to work very hard to make sure that I protect women in women's sports. I think it's really critical for our future and for the future of the country and the message it sends to everybody, really.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's just unbelievable what has been happening in our nation. What are your thoughts on our sovereignty? It's a kind of a broad question. Would you, as a U.S. Senator, again, agree to decline or sign any agreements or treaties with global agencies? I'm thinking of one, the WHO. Do you think that should happen without full congressional approval?
Well, absolutely not. And I would hope we'd vote no. You think about what this has done. Every time the U.S. has given a little bit of sovereignty away, and it's always a mistake to do it, it costs us all, because of the liberals, the progressives, the leftists around the world gain control of those organizations. And then we end up trying to have to live through that here in America. And guess what? We're just a different culture than the rest of the, including Europe, by the way.
Yeah.
We have a very different view of the world. Parents should be in charge of families, not the government. Very simple things like that. And when you give that sovereignty away, you jeopardize that kind of freedom here at home. And the other part of that is the border. I mean, look, if, the government's job and role and responsibility is to keep Americans safe, first and foremost. And how we allow them to have this open border that have brought criminal elements into our communities. You've recounted the murders of these young women, the sexual assaults of these young women by illegal immigrants that came to our doorsteps. Even here in Michigan, we've had Ruby Garcia killed in Kent County. We
Yeah.
have a 14-year-old sexually assaulted in Livingston County, my home county. Listen, we can stop this. We need to stop it. I'll work to stop it. That's also part of this sovereignty piece. We should not give up the ability to know we as Americans should control our borders and the crime and national security implications of that comes with it. And thanks to you and all of the work on your organization and the work that you've done, I've had the privilege to watch you work over the years.
Thank
Phenomenal.
you.
This is no year to sit on the sidelines. This is the most consequential election. If we want to make sure people can afford groceries and biological males aren't competing against our young women, and that we protect this border, this is the year to get involved. I would love to have their support and your vote come August and then on to November.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today, Citizens for Traditional Values. Appreciate all the things you've done in the past, and good luck on the campaign trail.
Hey, thank you. Fourth generation of Rogers in the military today. Our son, who's a lieutenant in the Navy, on this Independence Day. We're very proud of him and all those that served the country.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.